Hey all, welcome back to the channel. So today's lesson is all about applying a simple diminished idea over a dominant chord. Now specifically how to use a diminished arpeggio over a dominant 7 chord. And there are a bunch of lessons on YouTube about the scales, diminished arpeggios, chords, and I'm pretty sure I've watched them all. But when I was starting out, all that information caused a lot of confusion in my head, and I couldn't really use diminished in my playing or while improvising. So I hope this kind of gives you some idea about some idea on how you can apply a diminished sound in your improvisation. All right. So in the intro jam, I was essentially playing a B minor and an F7. And the chords went like this. Now on the B minor, I was essentially playing the B minor pentatonic, and on the F7 I was playing F sharp diminished arpeggio. Now the reason why the F sharp diminished arpeggio work over the F7 is because the upper structure triads, and I won't be going into all that theory in this lesson, but an easy way to visualize this on the fretboard is essentially if you look at your F7 and if you look at your F sharp diminished chord, all the notes are essentially same except the root. So this is my F7 and this is my F sharp diminished. So we're just switching the root, and that's essentially why the diminished arpeggio works over the dominant chord. And we are just adding the flat 2 or the flat 9, and that kind of gives us that diminished sound. So just to quickly recap on my B minor, on the F7, so on the F7 I'm thinking about the F sharp diminished arpeggio, and then the only thing you have to make sure is to resolve to the chord tone when you're coming back to the B minor. And there are a lot of ways to play the diminished arpeggio all over the neck, and I'll post some links in the description with some arpeggio shapes that I like, so you can practice those and essentially just try to apply that diminished arpeggio over the dominant chord. So let's say if you're playing a D7, you are essentially playing an F D sharp diminished arpeggio, and Now, because the notes of the diminished scale moves in thirds, so in case of F sharp, because the notes are 3 frets apart, we can essentially move the whole shape of the diminished arpeggio across the neck. So instead of starting on F sharp, I can start on A as well. I can go down and start on a D sharp or an E flat as well. So now instead of playing an F sharp diminished or an F7, you can essentially play A diminished over an F7 as well. For example, so I'm using essentially the same shape of the diminished arpeggio and just moving it across the fingerboard. And you can apply this idea over any chord progression. It doesn't have to be a minor going to the dominant. It can work over any dominant chord, whether it's blues or any other chord progression that you know. So let's say if you're in the key of A. So let's say if I play the A blues. I can essentially play this over any of my dominant chords. So now I'll try to push this here. I hope this kind of gives you some idea of how you can use a diminished sound on a dominant chord. I'll post some patterns of the diminished scale in the description below, and also you can download the backing track from the link in the description as well. Thanks. Cheers.